It is ugly, smelly, and dangerous to your health. All that mold growing inside homes and businesses flooded by Harvey. Now, mold contamination can grow and spread in a matter of days and hide behind walls and beneath floors. Getting rid of it the right way can prevent long-term damage to your home and eliminate health risks. Tonight, investigator Mario Diaz explains how to get accurate mold readings, and he shows you when levels indicate a serious problem.
Do you think people in Houston and the surrounding areas have a true grasp of the mold that right now has infiltrated their homes?
I don't think they do.
A powerful statement from someone who understands the toxic grip that mold can have on a home.
You're at over 30% right here.
In the last year, Jacob Cohn and his Louisiana-based team have remediated more than 3,000 homes.
So I'm just going to slide it down.
Cohn found himself in Houston in the days following Harvey, during a time when homeowners like Shauna French
This is the book my mom put together of my wedding.
were drawing out old memories while being deluged with new ones.
There is no telling what is in that water right there.
Dr. Winifred Hamilton has a pretty good idea.
We've got cadmium there, we've got silver, we've got chromium, we've got lead, we've got arsenic.
Dr. Hamilton is the director of Environmental Health Service at the Baylor College of Medicine.
The sediment levels we've tested so far do have elevated levels, but they're more elevated inside the home than they are outside right now.
In fact, field tests conducted by Hamilton revealed levels of metals and bacteria from floodwaters were 20 times higher indoors than outdoors.
I guess inside the home, it's a mini toxic dump.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
All of this is a contributing factor to the various strains of mold.
We've seen horrific pictures.
Channel 2 Investigates saw it in the memorial area inside of the French family home.
I think those were peanuts.
And we heard its detection pop in Meyerland.
You hear that beep?
It is here where we came across David Lee Kroger.
You're a biologist.
Yes,
So you know about mold.
I know about mold.
He also knows that even through extensive remediation, there's probably no way he will completely escape mold's wrath.
You'll never get all the mold out of anything.
The Centers for Disease Control Prevention says mold, including stachybotrys or black mold, contributes to skin, throat, and eye irritations as well as serious lung illnesses like asthma. Dr. Hamilton tells Channel 2 Investigates that for others, it can be more severe.
People with compromised immune systems can actually, develop some fungal or mold growth within their body.
And as some try to polish off the challenges of the past month, many find themselves with a future that is far from crystal clear. Their concerns valid over what the historic flooding may have left behind and the place they call home.
I don't think I'll ever think any of these houses anywhere that flooded, I won't go into them and think, is this 100% safe?
Cohn says he is concerned with some homeowners not realizing they are cutting corners during the rebuilding process.
Some people are just using their hand and they're saying, oh, to the touch, I think my wood is dry.
Cohn adds anything higher than 16% means a home is still susceptible to mold.
I don't want to see anyone have to gut their house a second time, have to get treated for mold a second time. I don't want to see anyone go to the hospital.
The takeaway is simple, according to Cohn. If it feels like you are putting a Band-Aid on a problem when rebuilding your home during this key stage, then it's not a permanent fix. And it is more likely than not you'll have mold issues in the future, which is why, Bill and Dominique, it is so important to get that reading at about 16%. And nothing above that.
Now, Mario, in the longer version of your interview with Dr. Hamilton, you asked her if the mold inside that house amounted to what you called a mini toxic dump.
Right.
And she didn't hesitate in saying absolutely, right?
No, she said that. And the reason being is quite simple, is because people don't think about what's inside their garages. You have fertilizer, you have chemicals for the yard. Most importantly, what's underneath your kitchen sink? You also have tons of cleaning supplies. All that stuff got mixed into the waters inside of people's home, in addition to what came in from the outside and penetrated the place that people call home.
Let's talk about some of the people you profiled. It seemed to me that David is well on his way to rebuilding. How is the French family doing?
I spoke with the French family about 35 minutes ago, and they said they actually went up into the second story of their home now, and they're starting to remove the drywall from there because the mold has gone all the way up there, and they're seeing it up on their ceilings as well. So it's an incredible task that they're dealing with, but they have the most upbeat spirit throughout this entire challenging period.
Good report and very useful information, Mario. Thanks
Thank you
a
so
lot.
much.
Thank
Bill
you.
Dominique.
Area are busy cleaning up after floodwaters damaged parts of Alderson over the weekend. Now those residents are concerned about a new danger. 59 News reporter Katie Kate is live in Alderson with the story. Katie.
Riley, it's something that can make you sick if you let it live in your home. I spoke with some experts and homeowners about the dangers of mold. Take a look.
There was a lot of water and mud, and of course the water, everything floats and it knocks everything into the water.
Homeowner Kathy Hutchins is left cleaning up.
As you can tell, the cabinets they've had it.
After Friday's rain sent water seeping into her home. One thing to be on the lookout for when cleaning is mold.
Get all the moisture out of your home immediately. Open your windows, get some box fans, some dehumidifiers, push the mud out with the deck brushes, and just do everything you can to dry the structure out completely.
Kathy says she's going to need to make repairs to her home due to mold concerns. But for some, much more than just repairs will be needed to keep everyone in the home healthy and safe.
You don't want to run the risk of it becoming a breeding ground for any kind of bacteria or mold and run the risk of making your family sick just because you're holding on to it.
Kathy says she's unfortunately no stranger to losing valuable items and dealing with the aftermath of flooding. She's cleaning up her home again 4 years after the 1,000-year flood tore through her home.
Having to deal with it 4 years ago and then turn right around and do the same thing. I've pretty much had it. I don't know what to do.
You are also encouraged to call Town Hall in Alderson if you need help acquiring cleaning supplies or other resources. Reporting live in both Greenbrier and Monroe counties, Katie Kate, 59 News.
Really hard whenever it's late at night and they're asking to go home, and I can't take them home. I can't take them to their rooms. I can't put them in their beds, tuck them in with their stuffed animals to go to bed. That's the hardest part about it.
New here at 10, a Bridge City family left without a home after Laura, but not for the reason you may think. Good evening, everybody. The mobile home that they rent is still standing, but they say they can no longer live in it because of mold. 12 News reporter Victoria De Leon met with the family at their home today.
It's bad. These days, the only time the Runnels are in their Bridge City home is to check on the problems Hurricane Laura left behind.
This all the way from the ceiling.
The biggest problem is mold, which is not easy to get rid of.
When we came back in and smelled how strong the mold was, we knew it wasn't safe for the babies to be in here. Having kids that young with mold allergies.
After multiple attempts to get a hold of their landlord, they picked up and left. 12 News also tried calling the landlord, but we haven't heard back. The Runnels spent a couple of nights in a hotel, but Cassie's husband went without work for 2 weeks, so money quickly ran out. For now, they're staying with family for as long as they can.
And then after that, we're going to be in some trouble. We need to find somewhere to live permanently so this isn't an issue anymore.
The family wants out of their lease, but not being able to communicate with the landlord makes that tough. They fear getting hit with a lawsuit and being asked to pay back rent. An attorney tells us the state of Texas recognizes something called a warranty of habitability.
What it says is, look, if I'm renting a home, then my goodness, if the home is not livable, if it's not habitable, then I don't want it and I shouldn't have to pay for it. So you have to establish that the home is not habitable in order to try to break the lease.
Texas Division of Emergency Management has a hotline set up for families who need help, but Cassie says it hasn't been easy getting through.
They said that for people in Texas, they're recommending we call 211. 211 isn't giving us information other than call Red Cross or the charities, and it's kind of like a never-ending loop.
Thankfully, she says the community has stepped up and helped with clothes and food, but not knowing where they're going to sleep is still the biggest issue.
That's the hardest part about it.
Especially when she has to explain it to her kids.
Does, but how do you explain it to a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old where they get, you can't go in there and be with mold, you're going to get sick.
So Cassie tells us the biggest problem they're running into is finding a 3-bedroom home or apartment that's available right now. For those in similar situations struggling with renters' rights issues, we've got links on our website to help you navigate your rights.
And for many in southeast Louisiana, the power is back on. Debris has been removed. Flood waters have gone down, but there's now a new problem presenting itself. NBC Local 33's Rachel Riley has details on how mold is creating even more issues for families.
Downed trees and power lines are not the only thing Hurricane Ida survivors are worrying about. Mold is now on the top of that list too. Today I spoke with one woman who says her house is unlivable.
And we could actually see the house coming apart. I did not think that, at that time we would probably make it. So I took a permanent marker and I wrote her name on my arm just in case that the house was going to come apart.
A shocking and traumatic scene. This is what was left of Chattel Macklin's house after Hurricane Ida passed through Holden.
It looked like a faucet going down the walls of the kitchen.
As the water started to seep in, so did memories of the 2016 flood.
It really brought back a lot of traumatizing things. Are we going to end up homeless? Are we going to end up in a hotel?
Macklin is now battling mold growing throughout her home.
I can see more of it starting to sag, and I can smell the smell is hard to breathe.
She's desperate for help.
I'm praying that FEMA will help us and help several other families like us.
FEMA does cover some mold-related damages.
We provide temporary housing assistance, that along with emergency home repairs.
If you do have mold in your home, FEMA says not to stay there and encourages you to apply for assistance. Rachel Riley, NBC Local 33 News.
FEMA is also encouraging you to make follow-up calls if you haven't heard back from them in a few weeks to make sure and to keep an eye out for disaster recovery centers in your area.
After extensive flooding, one common issue could make people sick from being inside those damaged homes. Following this year's widespread flooding, local doctors want people to be on the lookout for mold. The fungus grows in damp, dark, and warm areas, so basements and bathrooms are common rooms to find mold after a flood. Local allergy experts warn that mold can begin growing and creating spores within 48 hours, and those spores can be breathed in, causing serious health concerns.
And trying to manually remove the spores, definitely wear a mask. If it's a very large area, you might want to consult a professional because, again, the mold exposure can be damaging to your health potentially.
All right, so doctors also say you can remove mold from many surfaces, but porous surfaces, things like wood and carpeting, will often need to just be replaced.
As water levels in central Iowa continue to go down tonight, there are new concerns, though, about what comes after the water. The Department of Public Health says it's mold that you need to watch out for after the flooding recedes. Mold is dangerous, and it can pop up pretty much anywhere in your home.
Carpet padding, leather, clothes, food, anything, dry mold, anything that cannot dry, we want to throw it away because that's how the mold will grow in our home.
And it's not just mold you need to be aware of when talking about flood dangers. There are also flood-related diseases to keep in mind. Food contamination is a big problem. Make sure you're throwing out any food that touches the flood water. Don't taste test the food to see if it's safe or okay. When in doubt, they say just throw it out.